Good morning and welcome back to our 158th Bible study. We're looking at ancient tales and dialogues and parables that humanized the law, and at the moment we're looking at the book of Jonah. Yesterday we saw how Jonah disobeyed God and what happened to him immediately afterwards, and now, as he's thrown up on the beach, we see how he obeys God. This is Jonah chapter 3, verses 1 to 5 and verse 10. So, Yahweh had another go at speaking to Jonah. I still want you to go to that huge city of Nineveh and tell them what I already told you. This time, Jonah did what Yahweh said. He went to Nineveh, a city so huge it took 3 days to cross it on foot. He started walking, and after 1 day he announced, "You've got 40 days before this city is destroyed." The Ninevites believed the message from God. They made the decision that everyone should fast. All the people, from the greatest to the least, would put on sackcloth to prove they were sorry for their behavior. God saw what they were doing. He was aware that they had given up their wicked habits. He changed his mind and did not punish them as he had formerly decided. When he was deep in the giant fish's insides, Jonah naturally had his regrets, and a poem that forms his prayer takes up all of Jonah chapter 2, which is worth reading because it contains the words, "It was when I felt my life was slipping away that I finally prayed to you, Yahweh, and in your holy temple you heard me." He had finally realized that physical distance is no barrier to us communicating with God or to God reaching out and affecting us. Some modern scholars think that this prayer was added later and that it started its life as a thanksgiving psalm written by someone who had survived being nearly drowned. Jonah is mentioned a couple of times in the New Testament, in Matthew 12:39 to 41 and Luke 11:29 to 31, which they both copied from the lost gospel called Q. That's Q for Quella, the source. It says there, the only sign this evil generation is going to get is the prophet Jonah's sign. And Matthew adds, "As Jonah spent 3 days and nights in the whale's innards, so the Son of Man will be 3 days and nights in the earth." And then they both have this. The people of Nineveh will stand up on Judgment Day and condemn the people of this generation because they changed when they heard Jonah's preaching. And look, here is someone greater than Jonah. The most important thing in Jesus' mind was that the Ninevites had listened and then changed. It was Matthew who noticed the 3 days and couldn't resist adding it to the Q text. So now back to the story. On the beach near Joppa, where he had been thrown up by the fish, Jonah heard God's orders echoing in his mind. And this time he gave in and obeyed. Nineveh on the river Tigris had been the largest city on earth around 612 BC, and Nineveh was renowned for its size and its power as the capital of the Assyrian Empire. Our storyteller doesn't mind further exaggerating its size, however, but does so for effect. The Greek version translated in the 2nd century BC, heightens the tension further by changing Jonah's announcement to read, "You've only got 3 days left before the city is destroyed," instead of the 40 days in the original Hebrew. Everyone, from the king down, fasted, prayed, and amended their behaviour. The king ordered that it should be so. So it turned out just as Jonah had predicted. They did repent, and it was so disappointing to him that non-Jews should behave exactly the opposite of what his prejudices expected, which is, of course, the whole point of the story. Tomorrow we shall see how it ended between this annoyed prophet and his God. See you tomorrow.